$9. Lighted cup holders and hidden storage, drop-down table with 2 outlets and overhead lights, 2 power headrests, and 2 power recliners. Phew.
Impressive.
Untouchable.
Tonight, workplace horror. A gunman goes on a deadly rampage in Orlando. Police say a disgruntled ex-employee hunting down and targeting former co-workers in a senseless act of violence. Where the warning signs missed, the terrorists in London revealed as troubling new details emerge. Were they hiding in plain sight? Bill Cosby on trial. Dramatic testimony on opening day as Cosby himself gets a show of support from a former co-star. Admissions revoked. A stunning turn of events at Harvard. What officials say was so offensive, students were given the boot right after being accepted. And losing weight, the new alternative, no surgery, takes less than an hour, and you're home the same day. Doctors say the results can be life-changing. Nightly News begins right now.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening. It's great to be back with you on this Monday. Our top story tonight, a cold-blooded act of workplace violence. 5 workers, 4 men and 1 woman, singled out for murder on the job just as the day was starting at an Orlando RV business. Police say the killer was a former co-worker. He, too, is now dead as police try to unravel the depth of the anger that drove him to kill. A category of violence happening in this country with increasing regularity. NBC's Kerry Sanders has the latest details.
Deputies say a disgruntled former employee at a small manufacturing warehouse in Orlando had one mission this morning: to kill.
We have 5 no codes, no vitals on scene.
According to investigators, 45-year-old Army vet John Robert Newman, armed with a knife and a pistol, targeted and murdered his former co-workers before then turning the gun on himself.
Is a former employee of this business. He was fired sometime in April of this year.
7 employees escaped safely.
How are you doing right now, sir?
Keep the families in prayer of these people.
The 5 victims range in age from 44 to 69.
I have no clue why anybody would want to hurt these people.
Deputies believe the gunman walked past the front door and the side warehouse doors to a third entrance he knew was often unlocked. Once inside, deputies say he began shooting at his former co-workers, aiming at their heads. Deputies say one recent hire faced down the gunman, but Newman told her to leave. She had been in the bathroom and called her sister moments after that first shot.
She just kept saying, I'm okay, I'm okay. My boss is dead. My boss is dead. Very, very upset.
Today's violence part of a growing problem. The most recent statistics show workplace shootings rose by 15% in 2015.
There was no reason for security, so obviously this is a very troubled person that just went off.
It's still unclear why the gunman was fired in April. 3 years ago, deputies were called to the same workplace because Newman got into a fistfight with a co-worker, but no charges were filed. Lester?
Kerry Sanders in Orlando tonight. Kerry, thank you. Turning overseas now to another major story, the investigation into that deadly terror attack on and around the London Bridge. 2 of the 3 attackers have now been identified, but there are new questions about whether British authorities did enough to stop them. As we get a look at terrifying new images from the attack, NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel has the latest.
Police have now identified 2 of the attackers who terrorized London. East London resident Rashid Redouane, described as Moroccan and Libyan, and British citizen Khurram Butt, born in Pakistan. A third suspect in the deadly van and knife rampage has still not been named, as new video shows the attackers trying to force their way into a restaurant to stab and kill people inside.
Just started running as fast as I could. There was sirens everywhere.
But could it have all been prevented? Tonight, a U.S. intelligence official tells NBC News British authorities missed warning signs.
He's white and he's English, he can go.
Khurram Butt was already well known, even featured in a documentary about Islamic extremists. He was part of a group of ISIS supporters closely monitored by police. And at his mosque, a worshiper told us Butt was considered too extreme.
Why was he kicked out?
Because he is suspect.
To be extreme?
To be extreme.
If that didn't ring alarm bells, a neighbor said she even tipped off police about Butt.
They don't look right to me. They look that they are radicalizing the kids.
Tonight, British police were on the defensive.
We do have literally thousands, in fact tens of thousands of people who we would regard as subjects of interest.
London's Muslim mayor directed his outrage at the attackers.
The ideology they follow is perverse, it is poisonous, and it has no place in Islam.
Now there are vigils for the victims and promises to do more after critics say the security forces did far too little.
British police tonight said Butt was known both to them and to British intelligence, but now there are questions whether they should have acted sooner. Lester?
Richard Engel in London tonight. Thank you. The White House said today President Trump will not invoke executive privilege, an attempt to block fired FBI Director James Comey from testifying publicly. So Comey is scheduled to go before the Senate Intelligence Committee Thursday morning, a highly anticipated appearance in which he's expected to face questions about his interactions with the president. Meantime, on a day the White House wanted to focus on infrastructure, the president wanted to talk about something else this morning, unleashing a tweet storm about his travel ban, which has been blocked so far in the courts. And with his words, the president may have hurt his own case as it heads to the highest court in the land. We get details now from our chief White House correspondent, Hallie Jackson.
Tonight, new questions about whether the president's own words could come back to haunt him as he talks travel ban, now in the hands of the Supreme Court, describing the current version as watered down and politically correct. And yes, the president's reiterating it is a travel ban.
I don't think the president cares what you call it.
His administration used to.
It's not a travel ban. Remember, it's a travel pause.
It's not a travel ban.
This is not a travel ban. This is a temporary pause.
When we use words like travel ban, that misrepresents what it is.
Why does it matter what it's called? Because the president's words can and probably will be used against him in a court of law. Other judges, in decisions to block the ban, already pointed to the president's rhetoric on the campaign trail. Even supporters like conservative lawyer George Conway, husband of Kellyanne, argues these tweets on legal issues undercut the president.
Not only does it make their legal position harder, but many people would say it undermines their credibility before the justices as well.
Does the president support his own travel ban as it is currently written?
Absolutely.
President Trump's latest travel ban talk comes in response to the terror attack in London, part of a series of statements in which he also slammed London's mayor for this.
Londoners will see an increased police presence today and over the course of the next few days. No reason to be alarmed.
The president appearing to take that phrase out of context, tweeting at least 7 dead and 48 wounded in terror attack. And Mayor of London says there is no reason to be alarmed.
Look, I think that the point is there is a reason to be alarmed. We have constant attacks going on.
Mayor Sadiq Khan, unfazed.
I simply haven't got time to respond to ill-informed tweets from the President of the United States of America.
Despite British backlash to the president's comments, advisors at the White House point out the president did call Prime Minister Theresa May to express condolences and offer support to the UK. Lester?
Hallie Jackson at the White House. Thank you, Hallie. Years after allegations began to surface, the sexual assault trial of comedian Bill Cosby began today in a Pennsylvania courtroom with dramatic testimony from one of the former TV icon's alleged victims. And as NBC's Stephanie Gosk explains, Cosby had a familiar face by his side as the proceedings got underway.
Bill Cosby arrived at court this morning in Pennsylvania, arm in arm with the actress who once played his daughter.
Daddy told me to wear.
Rudy Huxtable.
I came to support because this is where you hear the facts. This is where the truth happens.
The man the country fell in love with as Dr. Huxtable, now on trial for sexual assault. In opening statements today, the prosecution alleged Bill Cosby gave former Temple University employee Andrea Constand pills at his home in 2004, telling her, "I have 3 friends for you to make you relax," leaving her completely paralyzed, frozen. According to the prosecution, in that incapacitated state, she couldn't consent, and Cosby molested her. The lead defense attorney brought up inconsistencies in Constand's accounts to law enforcement, including initially telling police she didn't contact Cosby after that night. She called him 53 times, the defense shouted in court, sometimes 30 to 40 minutes a pop. Dozens of women have accused Cosby of inappropriate sexual contact. Many say they were drugged. Cosby denies all of the allegations. Victoria Valentino says she was molested back in 1969, and like many of the other accusers, never went to police. She is in court this week to support Andrea Constand.
Justice for her is justice for all of us.
In court, the prosecution began its case with another alleged victim to establish a pattern. The witness claims she was drugged by Cosby and molested in an LA hotel room in 1996. But the cross-examination was tough.
Struggled with her memories, struggled with the consistency of her testimony.
A tough moment for the prosecution, but this is only day one. The trial is expected to last 2 weeks. The most critical moment when Andrea Constand herself takes the stand. Lester.
All right, Stephanie, thank you. A group of incoming freshmen at Harvard University have just gotten the kind of education they didn't bank on. A lesson learned the hard way. At least 10 students have now lost their spots at one of the country's top colleges after allegedly posting offensive images to a private Facebook group. NBC's Morgan Radford has details.
Every year, Harvard accepts the best and the brightest. But some of the latest incoming freshmen have already been kicked out after allegedly posting offensive images online, too extreme to show on television. Several soon-to-be students who connected through the university's official Class of 2021 Facebook page created a separate private group and used it to share images making fun of the Holocaust, minority groups, even child abuse.
It demonstrated a lack of maturity and judgment that would bring discredit to the school.
According to the school newspaper, the university learned of the group in April and asked its members to disclose everything they had posted. After its review, the school revoked admissions for at least 10 students. 35% of admissions officers surveyed across the country say they checked the social media sites of college applicants. 42% say what they found negatively affected the applicant.
Is it fair for a college admissions officer to look at a student's Facebook page?
Facebook is public. Twitter is public. Colleges are building communities. And when you apply to a college, you're saying, I want to be part of this community.
In a statement to NBC News, the university says we do not comment publicly on the admission status of individual applicants. Students today acknowledging their social footprint could be digitally dangerous.
The university does represent a certain image, and the students that attend that university reflect that image.
Morgan Radford, NBC News, New York.
In Oakland, California tonight, the district attorney is charging 2 men with 36 counts of involuntary manslaughter, more than a half a year after a massive warehouse fire. City officials have not yet determined a cause for the so-called ghost ship fire, but they say 2 men who illegally allowed dozens to live there are responsible for their deaths. NBC News national correspondent Miguel Almaguer has more.
The ghost ship erupting into flames, the deadliest fire in Oakland history, taking 36 lives. Today, master tenant Derek Almena and resident Max Harris charged with 36 counts of involuntary manslaughter.
Defendants Almena and Harris knowingly created a fire trap with inadequate means of escape. They then filled that area with human beings and are now facing the consequences of their actions.
After the fire, Almena and Harris placed blame on the dilapidated building. Almena said it wasn't up to code. City officials say they were deceived, never aware dozens lived inside the cluttered 2-story wooden maze, a claim Almena disputes.
Are you worried that you may be blamed?
I'm worried. In an exclusive interview shortly after the blaze, Almena said he made repairs to the electrical system, focal point of the fire investigation. His attorneys say Almena is a scapegoat.
We did what we had to make it better.
If the fire was caused by faulty wiring, you wouldn't be surprised.
I would not be surprised if it was a wiring thing, yeah.
Tonight, both men blamed for endangering the lives of nearly 100 who came here for a party and 36 who never made it out alive. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News, Los Angeles.
There is more to tell you about as we continue here tonight. New weight loss treatment. It's a growing alternative to lap bands or gastric bypass without the surgery, and it's helping some patients shed dozens of pounds. We'll tell you more about that. Also, Wonder Woman's historic record-smashing opening and what it means for generations of fans. Hope you can stay with us.